Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
I got promoted it was basically like October 08 is when I kind of like started full time there.
Mhm.
By January 09 is when I got a director's title.
Okay.
And at that time in 09, I was 28 years old.
Okay.
So I was literally in meetings with people in their 50s and 60s who were also directors and VPs, et cetera.
Yeah.
But it was like this really fortuitous experience, right? Because I had enough experience in digital advertising to make it work. And they needed someone who understood the practice. But what I lacked is, number one, the ability to be effective in meetings. Like I wasn't good at meetings. Like I was very like on and off, hot and cold. And so I was inexperienced in feeling comfortable in meetings and talking to other professionals who are way more experienced than me in the business. So I had this great title and I had this great experience, but they gave me like I'm honestly surprised they didn't fire me like a year and a half into it because I felt like I kept making mistakes, and I think I was better than I think I was, but I was crazy.
So what's the key to being effective in those meetings?
I went to Toastmasters. That's the key.
Talk about that for a second.
I love Toastmasters, man. That thing was amazing. Like so, basically, um, I went there for 9 months. It's a speaking group. It's like anyone who just wants to talk about anything.
Yeah.
To become a better speaker. So in my group, there was like the leader of the group was like this English language nerd. Like he was just such a nerd for words. It was
Yeah.
the best. So that guy was leading the group. You had like a realtor from Ukraine who's trying to get better at talking. You had an actor. You had business people, me included, and you have all these like disparate, you know, people. One person who I can recall had health issues, was trying to get better at speaking, and you have all these disparate like people from disparate walks of life all convening to like just talk.
Yeah.
And so there's a structure, right? You know, tell a story that's rhetorical, tell a story that's motivating and inspiring, etc. And
Mhm.
you can like spend your whole life competing in speaking competitions. They help
Mhm.
you count your ums and ahs and what you do with your hands and whether or not you wiggle, and your hands all of a sudden become weird when you're speaking on stage.
Yeah.
Don't know what to do with your hands. So you get to practice all this in a really non-threatening environment, and dramatic difference. Dramatic difference within a year.
So what was the one thing, the most important thing that you learned from being a part of Toastmasters?
Repetition is key.
Okay. So you have to practice.
You have to practice, but it gets easier when it's your words and your thoughts and your authentic vision rather than someone else's. So part of the problem I had in working at that other company where I had this big title and I didn't have the experience talking in big meetings,
Right.
part of the issue was people were telling me what they wanted to say, and it
Right.
didn't make some of it didn't make sense to me, and I was like, oh, that's just a thing that they need to stop doing, and I need to be more into what I believe is the right thing to say.
Right.
But as an entrepreneur, and really I have to be a salesperson now, it's glorious because I'm saying the exact same thing day in and day out on podcasts, in sales meetings, on TikTok videos. It's the same stuff all in.
Right. Right.
So it's actually, when I started to sell, started to like talk to people about my business, I felt a lot more comfortable. I was even like able to like win arguments more effectively and get people to do what I wanted them to do without feeling uncomfortable about it. It was just such a massive improvement.
So you're no parrot is what you're saying.
I'm no parrot. Yeah, I can't do that. And here's the thing, like at Universal McCann, one of the bosses I had not the Elias person I spoke to, but other ones. I mean, these are people who are like radio and television majors in college. Like
Yeah.
they had persona and they had gravitas about them and they
They
knew
got
how
the
to talk.
chops. They
They
got the
knew how to
chops.
present. And
Yeah.
I'm just this guy from a Cal State school. Everyone I started with at Universal McCann, USC, UCLA.
Yeah.
Literally, the woman who started the same week as I did was the head of the student body for USC
Yeah.
the year prior. And I was such an average, very enthusiastic, but average human being.
Right.
Anyway, so like, you know, in this business, you're competing with people who are trained in dramatically different ways than
Yeah.
I was. That gives them a dramatic advantage, and I was also kind of like dealing with the mindset and feeling uncomfortable around that as well.
So it was a confidence thing too.
Totally a confidence thing.
Yeah. So you mind if I share something with you?
Yeah, please.
So I've been a professional public speaker of the better part of my life, and I was competitive in high school and college. I was the captain of the debate team junior and senior year in high school and in college and all that, right? I was one of those people that they considered an exceptional public speaker.
Nice.
And a few years, not long after that, I was asked to give a speech that I had no preparation for whatsoever, none.
Right.
And I had 10 minutes
Oof.
notice. And I thought I was going to lose my mind. It was to a group of thousands of people. And what I found was when you're about to vomit and you're just your nerves are completely out of whack and you're just right. I had sweat coming. I mean, you couldn't imagine. I was just a wreck, absolute wreck. I was pretty sure I was going to start hyperventilating any second. But it dawned on me that if I cared more about the audience than I did about how I looked doing this, that everything was going to work out. It didn't matter if I had an or a whatever, right? None of that mattered. What mattered was if I cared more about them and I showed them than I did about me, it was all going to work out.
Hmm.
And it did. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And when I came to that conclusion, when I had that epiphany, I just got calm. I didn't have butterflies anymore. I was still a little nervous, right? But I didn't have the panic going on.
Wow.
Right. And then I just went out and I started caring about these people. And I started asking them questions. You know how big I am on questions, right? So I went out and started asking them questions. What is it that you came here to learn? What can I teach you today to make this the most unbelievable experience you've ever had?
Hmm.
Okay. And these people connected with me and they shared with me. And when I would talk to one of them, and there's thousands in the room, mind you, but when I talked to one of them, they felt the other thousands felt like I was talking to them.
Wow.
That makes sense?
100%.
So it was absolutely one of the things. And by the way, I've gone to Toastmasters and they've kicked me out.
Why?
Well, because I'm a little advanced when it comes to speaking in public. And they were afraid that I was intimidating people. And I didn't, I didn't mean to. They gave me an impromptu subject, scissors.
Okay.
And I spent 23 minutes talking about scissors.
Amazing.
And when it was over, they walked me outside. They were very, very nice about it.
Right.
They walked me outside and they said, "We're going to politely ask you not to come back.
Really?
We wish you the best." Yeah,
Really? That's
it
weird.
was interesting. So, but it was one of those things where I got it. I understood. You know what I mean? And I literally got to that place where I cared more about the audience than I did about myself, and everything changed. I still get a little nervous, but it just flows. So
100%.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that helped you.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as a seller, it's one of those things that it feels nerve-wracking to think about doing it
Yeah.
until I'm actually doing it.
Yeah.
And it feels natural. And this was when I was starting to grow my business. Yeah.
Right. That's cool. So when do you get to Brill Media? When do you start Brill Media?
2013.
Okay.
The company I was working for that I really enjoyed, they went bankrupt, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, it happens.
It happened on September 11, 2013.
Wow.
So it was all, yeah, yeah. There were women crying and men were upset. Yeah, it's crazy. So at that point, I was like, I had a really good job. Like I felt like I had the cachet, I had the authority. I'm notoriously late to like getting to work. So like when I was late, it was actually glorious because I worked on the on a different floor than the rest of the organization
Hmm.
because I was working on a separate business unit. And no one cared. No one even knew if I was late or not. And it was glorious. I've been literally late my entire career. Like the very first job I got at Universal McCann, I was 45 minutes late, and it just so happened to be to the job interview.
Hmm.
This was the exact day that Ronald Reagan's body was being driven north on the 118, and I was going south, and it like totally delayed me.
Yeah.
Even like when I was working there, I was routinely late. Like if there's one thing you can say about me, it's never that I'm on time,
Oh,
which is
really?
unfortunate. I do my best. I do my best,
Yeah.
which is why I love Zoom because like it makes it far more likely I'll actually be on time. But yeah, I mean 2013, I basically needed to decide, am I going to start this all over again with another company? Am I going to be able to even find the type of job I want, like get paid what I want, etc.? And I thought, no, probably the answer is no. And I need to do it myself. But then I chickened out and took a job, which, so
It happens.
yeah, my business existed since 2013, but also in like for the year of 2014, I was also working at another company, and
Yeah.
I realized I was kind of like unemployable, didn't like the work. So really, 2015 is when I went full time on Brill Media. I had to
Gotcha.
scratch that itch.
So what's the number one thing you've learned owning your own company?
Mindset is critical
Yeah.
because I mean nothing's ever going to go as planned, or
Yeah.
very little goes as planned, and you need to be able to prepare for all the contingencies.
Right.
And the mindset, the ability to jump back up when you get punched in the face, really is the thing that is, I think, differentiates between um, success and failure.
Yeah. And you're going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
You're going to get punched in the face being employed too, right?
Right.
It's how you react to it. It's not the
Yeah.
fact that you get punched in the face, it's how you react to it.
I just want more control.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Like I didn't want to. My commute was like an hour and a half, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to keep doing this commute. It was from West LA to Pasadena. So going back to the earlier question,
It
Pasadena,
gets old.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Passing by Dodger Stadium, but I wasn't going to Dodgers games. Like, this sucks.
Yeah. It's hard to do, right?
Yeah, it was a waste of time. I mean, it was good for the moment, but
Yeah.
driving in general is just like hard on the soul, I think.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Especially that commute thing when everybody else is going that way and then everybody else is going home at that same, and you're like, what am I doing?
Right.
Why am I
It's,
in this? Right?
and it's not even like, with Waze, you feel obligated to take Waze. With the Waze, at least, or without Waze, at least you're on the same road, like
Right.
on the same freeway for like 20, 30 miles. But with
Right.
Waze, it's like a challenge, like making these Waze left turns
Yeah.
in like the middle of downtown LA traffic is like you
Yeah.
taking your life into your hands.
Yeah. No kidding.
It was like active driving, which made it even more tense.
Yeah. My daughter went to college in downtown LA and I absolutely I I did not want to every single time that I wanted to go get her, but I didn't want to deal with what I had to deal with to get to her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and then COVID hit right in the middle of it. And we went to go get her, and there was nobody on the road. So
Yeah,
where we are in San Diego, we take 5 up there, and
yeah,
Norwalk is always a natural. They've been working on Norwalk stretch of 5 forever,
yeah.
and it was always a natural bottleneck. We drove up there the day that they did the COVID shutdown to go get her. There
Really?
was nobody on the freeway during rush hour. I took a photo of it.
Did
All
you
5 lanes, nobody on.
Was that March 13th, 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man. I mean, it was like surreal. And then we get downtown and it's like we're by ourselves downtown. It was nuts.
Like kind of a
And so we got
sci-fi.
her picked up and got her back down. And it was just, the next 60 days were crazy. So
Yeah.
nothing like it. But you learn a lot about your 22-year-old daughter when you bring her home, right? You bring her home and you stay in a two-bedroom apartment with her for 60 days.
Oof.
You
Yeah.
you learn how much you admire her. You know what I mean?
100%. I believe
Yeah,
that.
that's cool. So I told her, I said, I'd always admired you a lot. It just went up tenfold,
That's very sweet.
quite,
Yeah.
quite an experience. So Brill Media, you've been in since 2015.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
you're coming up on 10 years.
yeah, well, 2013 is when I started, so I took some
Right.
clients early on and had some clients while I was working at that other agency. But so I say
Gotcha.
2013. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. So what are you working on now? What's your biggest project right now?
Um, Scaling up the business. I mean, we're a 20-person team. Um, so really I'm trying to um make myself not needed in the business.
Gotcha.
That's the way it's going to scale up even further. So my focus right now is sales and marketing. We went through a round of SOP, so standard operating procedure creation,
Hmm.
many years, like 5 years ago, and now I'm really focused on updating that. So we have playbooks for every action and every engine that needs to happen for our business.
Kind of
So
tightening
that
it up.
exactly. So anyone can come in at any time and know exactly what their job is, which we've done a great job of so far. I want to make it even better. I've been successful in taking myself out of the operational elements of the business. So I'm not managing clients, I'm not managing campaigns, and that's been for a few years now.
Yeah.
The next step is take myself out of the sales process, take myself out of the advertising and SEO process, um, so that I can be on an island for 6 months. Not that that's my goal, but it's like there's guaranteed better people to do certain jobs than me
Yeah.
for the business. And that's the way we grow it. I'm not here to create a job for myself. I'm here to build a business.
Right. So I see the on-air thing behind you in your office.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a second.
I mean, I had a podcast for a while. That was fun. But right now I'm posting on TikTok 7 days a week. Primarily, it's a marketing tactic.
Mhm.
But when you think about how valuable the distribution is, especially if you kind of hone in your craft and understand how to talk in digital environments, it becomes exceptionally powerful. And I've had people from 15 years ago reach out to me and tell me that the content I'm creating is exactly what they need to be thinking about for their agency.
Okay.
So it's been a good, the content I'm creating is a good way to reconnect with people I've met with over the last 20 years of my career.
Right.
Um, and really it's a good way to forge new relationships, which is great as well, and I really enjoy it. So the next phase of my business is really how do I how do I take myself out of everything completely and also be able to do what I really enjoy doing, which is talking about the business, talking about marketing and advertising. Because at the core, the reason I'm doing this business is because I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
You can
one of
tell.
thanks. One of the things I really enjoy is helping agencies. And like, there's well, so our business is really focused around white label media buying or outsourcing their advertising to other
Mhm.
agencies. So creative shops will come and work with us, and we'll do the ad buying, they'll do the creative, and we'll go to market together.
So
And
so define white label for anybody that doesn't know that's
white,
listening to the podcast.
yeah, white label is when you outsource some component of the work that you sell. So like, you know, when you go to Costco or Kirkland or something and you see Kirkland brand vodka, for example, Kirkland or Costco are not manufacturing vodka. They just literally have a label that says Kirkland of it, but some other company that's really focused in on manufacturing, distilling vodka, for example, does that work.
So
We're the same,
they make the vodka, they sell it
the
to
consumer.
Costco under the Kirkland brand.
Exactly.
That's called white labeling.
That's called white labeling.
Okay.
So,
So they
so
don't
that
make it, they just sell it under
right. So
Okay.
so there's creative shops, agencies that don't get out of bed for anything under 25 grand for creative work, and often it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. They know how to film commercials and make ads and build landing pages and do all the creative stuff. They'll come up with phrases like "just do it," those types of
Mhm.
companies. But media buying or buying advertising space is a very different type of business. It's data, it's algorithms, it's Excel documents. It's not creative work in the same way that making visuals is creative. So
Right.
it's a very different type of work. So they know they need the capability, but they don't want to invest millions of dollars in building it out. So they'll just come to us and say, you're now our white label media buying partner. When they have clients that need media buying, they will offer it and we'll activate on it. We'll do the work.
Gotcha. So they'll bill them and then they'll pay you a part of it.
Exactly.
I got you. Okay, that's cool. So talk to us about the TikTok. Is it a channel? What is it on TikTok that you're doing? Are you live?
I'm gonna start to go live more often. So the channel is Brill_media
Okay.
is my face, and basically it's I'm posting everything you need to know about marketing and advertising. So, like for example, if a small business is running Google Ads and it's not working, they're not generating sales or leads. It's like 7 things you need to do to diagnose and improve your Google Ads accounts,
Right.
or the how to do creative testing on Meta so that you can dramatically scale up your Meta advertising. So
Okay.
it's all the components around, the things that I believe and that we believe as an agency that
Mhm.
companies need to understand about marketing and advertising. The
Okay.
big thing that we're going on is we're creating a course for people to understand how to build an advertising agency. I want many people to build advertising agencies if they're building it correctly, and they can learn from me based on my 20 years of experience doing it. 'Cause I really enjoy working with agencies. That's the big
Right.
part of it.
Right.
So if I'm going to spend my time doing something that I love, what I want to be doing is helping other agencies grow.
Right.
That's the big sort of initiative, initiative for 2024.
Cool. So are you putting together a training program for that?
Yeah, it's basically for two types of people. It's for people who understand sales and don't understand how ridiculously valuable they can be for other businesses, helping them with agency work. So for example, you know, maybe someone's worked selling for Facebook or selling for Yahoo or selling for Hulu for many years and they just don't want to be a seller anymore,
Mhm.
but they understand marketing and advertising. This course will help them go from, hey, I understand how to generate money from the sky, but I don't know how to be an agency. So we'll help them for that.
Okay.
The other component is for people who are, younger, maybe don't have a lot of experience, but know they want to be in the marketing field. It's
Yeah.
everything you need to know so you can go from today saying, I want to build an agency, to everything you need to do to sell it and then outsource the work to me or other companies who can do the SEO work or the media buying work or etc.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is.
So if I wanted to take this podcast and give it maximum exposure,
Yeah,
is that something you could help me with?
100%. That's what we do.
We'll have to talk.
Okay. That's what we do. I mean, some of it could be marketing where it doesn't require advertising, and some of it can be paid.
Yeah.
So, when businesses really think about should they be spending money, like how do they allocate money, and whether they should be spending money, there's a whole decision matrix that's actually quite simple once you understand it. It's, do you have product market fit, which means do people have what you want? And I believe the answer for you is yes. But a
Yeah.
lot of companies think they should be advertising when they shouldn't be, because they don't know how to sell yet.
Right.
So we help them through that process. And anyway, so it's really about creating an advertising strategy, business goals, key performance indicators, understanding your ideal customer profile, and then just targeting them with ads.
So is that training ready now?
It will be in the next like week or two.
Okay, cool. So to get to that training, do they go to your website? Do
Yeah,
they?
there'll be a
Okay.
link on the website, brillmedia.co.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, we'll put a link to brillmedia.co on your description. Is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
Mindset is key.
Yeah.
That's one of the most interesting things I've learned that just came out of complete left field that I was not expecting at all. I went into this business, into being an entrepreneur. Like I know everything. Like I've been in
Yeah.
the business for 10 years. I've worked with big brands, and they got smacked in the face with mindset, like
Yeah.
completely different way of being, and very important for to get through all the good and the bad. Because
So
yeah.
so talk about getting smacked in the face for a second. What happened?
Oh, I mean, I didn't know. So when I started the business, I actually started 4 different businesses, which don't do that.
Right.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
I would
figure out.
highly recommend not doing that, right?
Yeah. Like the thing I know how to do like best is ad buying. So
Yeah.
I avoided doing that exact thing because I also knew the risks involved. The risks being like, you don't get paid if like, or what if it takes 3 months to get paid and you got to sell it? And I didn't know how to sell. So I started 4 other businesses, influencer marketing business. I wanted to be an influencer, a
Mm-hmm.
consulting firm to help agencies with digital ad buying implementation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fourth one would have been, I started a social media marketing firm, which everyone, there are a ton of people who know social media better than I do.
Yeah.
At that point, at least in terms of like creating content and social content calendars, etc. And the fifth business I created finally, which was the obvious one, was media buying, run
Right.
ads, do the thing you know how to do for the last decade. Duh.
Right.
But it took me a few years to figure that out. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it happens, right? You sort of jump off this cliff and then you start looking for a parachute and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? Right?
That's right.
Kind of what it's like, man.
Yeah.
Baptism by fire.
Yeah. What's the old saying? Building the train tracks while the train is moving.
Right. That's it.
What we're doing.
All right, buddy. Listen, Robert Brill, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been a great time. I've so thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it.
Same here. Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate you, buddy. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.